So what most people think of when they first hear the term protected area is a strictly bounded area, usually a park or a wilderness reserve where nature is protected. But there are lots of other parts of the landscape that function as protected areas where ecological processes continue unimpeded, but those areas may not fall within the strict boundaries of a legislative protected area. Protected areas are important on a lot of fronts. For one thing, they are the way that we protect biodiversity in perpetuity. But protected areas hold a whole suite of values. One is the biodiversity values. There are aesthetic values. There may be spiritual values, recreational values, just intrinsic values. There's been a massive sea change in the way a lot of forest harvest and forest management happens in the boreal in the last couple of decades, and I think the forest industry in some cases is leading the way and does quite a lot towards promoting forest conservation while at the same time allowing forest economic development and forest harvest. But there's still a lot of knowledge gaps that the industry has for how to do that well. And I think that's one of the largest challenges, is just filling in the science to assist with proactive, sustainable forest management that will complement protected areas. Land use planning plays a really important role in protected areas planning because protected areas don't exist in a vacuum. Protected areas interact with the land base around them. The boundaries may look solid on a map, but from an ecological perspective, they're fluid. Animals don't recognize those political boundaries or those jurisdictional boundaries, and ecological processes don't. So disturbances like fire aren't restricted to within or without those protected area boundaries. And so to have effective planning for protected areas, you have to consider the land use and the land activities outside of that protected area boundary as well. Land use planning is also helpful in that it brings all parties in a region to the table. So you have your resource industries, you have your First Nations, your local communities, tourism outfitters, the protected area advocates, government, non-government, all at the same table engaged in planning land use for a larger region. The benefit of land use planning is not always the end result, because it's a plan. It's not always going to be exactly realized, but the process of planning is a valuable tool because it allows for a big picture approach and it allows for an integrated approach among all sectors.